Okay, so this one is for you, Aries. That's you over here. This is Tarot Illumination. This is your general broad spectrum spiritual approach reading. We're using a Journey of the Heart spread, and this is for November 2018. Okay. Now, cards are already well shuffled in advance, but we go to the last second so that you're a witness. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. You know the drill. You've done this before, I'm sure. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising if they're all different. Okay. Also, please invite your invisible friends, spirit guides, angelic beings, guardian angels, all of that. Make it a team effort. It really helps to amplify the value of the reading. Okay. Now, before we get into it, I want to do a little overview with some of the planets here. So I've got a Tarot Illumination Astro Doodle. It's very homemade. I'm sorry about that. I don't have the fancy, expensive softwares. So I'm going to hold this there for a moment in case you want to, just look at the details on it, pause it on Action Rewind or something, replay or whatever. It might not make sense to you, just a load of doodles, but let's go through the basic dates, okay? The key ones over here, November 7th, okay? We got a big new moon in Scorpio, okay? Over there in your 8th house. Uranus goes retrograde into Aries for 3 months, over 3 months. Okay, we'll talk about this. North Node moves into Cancer, a whole new journey for the whole planet. November 10th, Jupiter moves into Sagittarius, okay? A huge shift and change. We've gone through so many stressful months, especially recently, a big chunk of 2018, the Leo Aquarius axis, and it's been tough for a lot of people, but it's changing. So we're moving away from stresses and more towards stability and smoother, softer conditions and higher consciousness, okay? November 17th, triple thing going on. Mercury goes retrograde in Sagittarius. Venus goes direct in Libra. It's not on here, but Mars moves into Pisces, okay? Next, November 22nd, Sun moves into Sagittarius. Sweet for you. 23rd, full moon. Sun in Sagittarius, moon in Gemini. So those are the calendar moments, okay? I'll just flip that through there for you till you got them. Okay, there we go. Now let's have a look at the chart here. There's a lot of things we could talk about, but because we're on such a short time frame here, I'm just going to focus on the Scorpio new moon, okay? And this is in your 8th house of like intimacy, shared resources, birth, procreation, death, really, really profound things that happen in life when you relate to a significant other. We're not talking about dating or a romance or getting married. We're talking about the deep innards of what happens after you've done all of those, okay? And you find out the value of yourself reflected to you back from a significant other, and vice versa, the value that you place in them, okay? Next, over here, this is where a lot of the big changes are happening, okay? For everybody, but for you, Aries, it's up here in your 9th house. So everything is naturally placed here. Wonderful, benefic Jupiter is very happy here in Sagittarius, cruising through here for the next year. So it's happening with like a cluster, okay? So November the 10th, Jupiter moves into Sagittarius right here, okay? November 22nd, Sun moves into Sagittarius right here, amplifying everything in your 9th house. November 17th, Mercury goes retrograde in Sagittarius. So that's a lot of activity for you up in your 9th house. Foreign travel, higher consciousness, ascending, getting greater understandings of how this planet works, and just the desire to literally like the desire to ascend and to grow. So it's very, very strong here, okay, with Jupiter. Jupiter is very powerful, healing, benefic energy. It just wants the best for everybody. It expands everything it touches, and same for you. So this is really good for news for you, okay, Aries? The challenging thing most, I think, here is when Uranus, which is right on the borderline here, the cusp of Taurus, where it's been in Taurus for a little while now on that new 7-year journey here. But it's flipping back retrograde to your self, Aries, first house for at least 3 months or so. So you might be feeling these like deep, deep, deep undertow dragging you back through the past, like action replays, rewinds of what you had to endure over the last 7 years to evolve and grow in these very unpredictable, chaotic ways where the full intention of Uranus is to wake you up. Okay? And so you're going to get the action replays, and then it's all going to come back again, back to Taurus for later in 2019. Okay, so let's leave it at that. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's have a look. This is a tarot channel after all. So here we go. That was like an appetizer, like a warm-up, to get you curious, get your curiosity piqued about yourself and your own life. Love thyself, Aries. That's what we do here at Chariot Lumination. It sounds very bizarre. It sounds like we're trying to cultivate these narcissists and egomaniacs, and it's not true. It's one of the hardest things to do on this planet is to consciously, genuinely, honestly love thyself. Okay? So we're using this Journey of the Heart spread, and we're going to see the story as it unfolds. I think we already said bring in your invisible friends, and let's make a party out of it. All right, Aries? Cards are well shuffled. Okay, we're going to cut it up. Bless the deck. Bless the cards. Bless you, Aries. Bless Tarot Lumination. Bless all the gadgets and cameras and the electricity, the internet, and everything about it. Okay? Let's be aware and grateful about how amazing it is that we can even do this and share this together. Please, by the way, Aries, check out the links below. Please, the best way you can say thank you to Tarot Illumination is to become a member. Okay? Thank you. All right. The heart needs what it needs, wants what it wants, and it's up to us, you Aries, to listen and get as close as possible in alignment. Okay? Anything less than that, and you are disserving yourself. All right. Over here, legacy energy. What are you bringing in with you, Aries? It could have been anything. We had that October season, everything over in Libra, your house of opposition, your 7th house, marriage, one-on-one relationships. What was going on there? In some ways, October was very tumultuous. There was a new moon and a full moon. Both of them were extremely challenging for everybody. It wasn't just you. So it will be perfectly okay to see some kind of aftershocks here. So don't worry, okay? Let's have a look. What about the ever-present now? This is where you own your power. It's just hard to be there a lot of times for a lot of people because it means you have to be completely grounded, present, conscious, and here. No excuses, no meandering in the past and projecting into an amazing potential future. No, we're dealing with what is right now, okay? That's where you own your power and you execute and express your power through the healing power of your decisions. And the most important decision always is to love thyself. What is the most loving thing that you need to do, that you can do for yourself at that moment in time? Because that's what's best for your heart, which is what is best for you, which is what's best for your loved ones, which is what's best for the whole planet. So what does that energy look like? Over here, let's say we get in the zone there. How do we actually do this so it becomes effective, so that you can create outcomes and be a co-creator in your life and how you evolve and grow instead of being so-called a victim of circumstance, okay? Where you can blame anything and everything that goes wrong on the fates. We're creating outcomes. We are evolving here, Aries. We're growing. We are nurturing and loving ourselves, okay, to grow. Over here, what does it look like when you abdicate the amazing privilege and honor it is to make a decision? And instead you give away all your power, all your decision making to other people, other things, other entities, other beings, other institutions, other lifestyle package deals that are not you or not yours. What does it look like when you are in the zone and you take full ownership of you and your whole life and world, and you pledge to love thyself? Okay, what does it look like in terms of prospects and momentum, getting into the next beat of the heart here, so that you can pulse in a very healthy manner, as healthy as possible. All right, let's have a look. Circumstantial, environmental energy, influences. I like to call it the weather. You've got the Chariot. Okay, so this is an indication that uh, it's almost like it's a perfect storm of goodness. Well, but it's also very challenging, where this is a tremendous opportunity for you, Aries, to leap to the next level of ascending, so to speak. You know how people talk about that in the world of spirituality? We're always ascending. And ascending is not easy. Everybody thinks, like, now that I'm ascended, everything should be bliss. No, it doesn't work that way. It just means you've reached higher levels of consciousness where the beauty of everything becomes more apparent, and the challenges become more apparent too. So that's what I think is happening here with the Chariot. Circumstantially, you're getting a chance here to really, really get your acts together, and everything is kind of lining up for you. It might have been very stressful, the October thing, then going into the Scorpio, now drifting towards the Sagittarius energy. It's going to be sweet when you get there, okay? But that's more like December, okay? More towards the end of the month. End of November and then into December. Let's have a look. What is the heart saying over here? It says, I want this, I want this, I want this, I need this, I'm going to do this, I can do this, I know I can, I know I can, I know I can. Please, please hang out with me, dear owner of me, dear Aries person, for which I am pumping, for whom I am pumping. I love you very much. I know you love me very much. Let's do this. Let's do this as a team, okay? Are you listening, Aries? Are you listening? Because like everything is expanding for you. Like your world, your landscape is expanding. The world of opportunities is expanding for you. A lot of that is to do with that thing we just talked about up here, the ingress of Jupiter into Sagittarius. It's very, very good news for you. And I think your heart senses that in advance and wants to get everything lined up, poised, ready for the new journey. What are you bringing in with you? Okay. Well, to me, with the Five of Wands here, this is an indication that you're actually quite proud that you've made it this far and you're doing pretty well. Like, I don't know if you watch these reports on a regular basis, but it with that October thing, all the Libra stuff that was going on, it was very challenging for you in some ways because that's your state of natural opposition. But here, it looks to me, coming into the November thing, with all this firepower, it looks like, you know what? Let's say pretend you're here, Aries, you're hanging out. You say, hey, Illumination, you know what? It wasn't that bad. I actually did pretty well. It was, all this stuff was coming at me from over here, and they were coming at me from over here, and this thing was coming at me from over here, and I was amazing. I did this and I did that, and I fended off them, and I prevailed. And look at me now. I'm actually getting better at being me. Isn't that amazing? And the Tarot Illumination says, wow. I wish more people would come into a reading like this. Well done, Aries. Okay, let's have a look at the now. Okay, here we are with the Hanged Man, ever present now. So my feeling is that despite your natural enthusiasm and upfront courage and your absolute fearlessness here, the reality is, let's be honest, you might have been dinged a few times. To me, this looks like really strong, courageous, proud energy of having done so well, almost like a fighter in a fight, male or female, young, old, whatever. And you are beaming with it, but you're not aware of how much you've been dinged, how many knocks you've had to the head. And so you could get that like punch drunk feeling, as they call it, like, I did so well, look at me. What? I'm Aries, man. I can handle anything. It's a little bit like that, okay? So please allow for that. You might have taken on a lot more blows and had a lot more dings than you're allowing for yourself, and you're just sensing so much good potential. That's enough fuel to overcome the realities of having taken a few knocks, okay? But it's okay. You can handle it. With the Hangman energy here, it's almost like it was inevitable anyway. It's a major. This is a major, so It's like you couldn't have fought this off anyway. You've already done the best you can, and you are doing a superb job. Well done, Aries. But let's admit it. It's been very disorienting at times. It's actually put you into a position where, at moments, you might have felt extreme self-doubt to the point of, like, this is impossible. I'm Aries. Like, this doesn't happen to Aries. Aries does not go down. Do you understand that, Terra Illumination? And then Terra Illumination says, Aries, you're as human as the rest of us. You're going to get your dings just like the rest of us. It's okay. Nothing to be ashamed of. You're doing really well. And then you kind of went, really? And I say, Carolyn, yes, you're doing really well, Aries. Okay. You just don't know it. It's okay. You're doing fine. You're holding your head very high. So it's in that position of like extreme duress where you are maintaining tremendous courage and dignity, even if Terra Illumination perceives that as you having been kind of whacked a little bit. Okay, so it's in that place of power where you can access your healing power of your decisions, which is how you catalyze your evolution. So what does that look like over here? So let's be honest. It's very, very important, Aries, to be honest. Like, you can admit, even as an Aries, you can admit that there are times when it's been incredibly, unbearably painful and stressful. We're talking about migraines, crippling pain in the head. Aries rules the head. It's like, and then having that feeling of, being faced off to the point of having to be the Aries up to the death almost, where you're wondering, can I actually handle it? You are handling, you're doing a really great job, but you have to be really honest with yourself when you're making decisions going forward here through November, coming into December, and these big changes going on. It's very important, even for Aries, to understand where and what all those stresses are. You can't just think of it as like fear. That's just fear. I will overcome that fear. The question is, what is the fear? Can you label it? Can you name it? Can you identify it without it owning you? Can you admit that you were scared of this, that you made a mistake here, that you've been preconditioned to fail by this or that from parenting, childhood, schooling, or whatever? Can you put a name to what it is that causes so much pain? Because if you can, then you can overcome anything. So how do you do that? It takes a huge amount of courage to actually like be the Aries and say to yourself, like when they do like those debriefings after battle and war, and the war is over, and then the bosses come in and say, okay, we need to rip this battle apart. What could we have done better? How did we lose on this front here? How did we win on that front? It's going to be very, very painful to do the diagnostics, but it's very important to do that. So how do we do that without feeling like you're a failure or a loss or that everything's woe is me? You maintain your self-respect. You maintain your dignity. You understand that you have a beating heart like everyone else. You're not just an automaton. You're not some kind of action hero robot wind-up thing on a big science fiction movie. You are a human being. You have as many reasons to be scared and frightened as anyone else. Yes, you have the mantle of Aries to wear, which is like courage, fearless, and act first, jump in where no one else wants to go, where everyone else is running, you go there instead. And I feel it's the same thing here with the King of Cups. Respect yourself, love yourself first and foremost. Like, honor your own magnificence, wear the crown. Yes, it might be emotionally uncomfortable for you, but it's the most dignified, self-respecting thing you can do as you go through this. And in so doing, it's like building your self-esteem again after having been so dinged, creating consequences. Yeah, it's like back in the saddle, man. Like, wow, Terra Illumination is right. It was just a period of time. It was just a few months, and things are going to pick up again. Yay! Okay, so with the Knight of Wands here, you realize that, my gosh, it's actually, you don't have to stay locked in combat 24/7, fighting the good fight, pioneering the new horizons, all the time as Aries. You can do other things. You can do self-analysis. You can do the debriefing. You can take some time out to enjoy your sovereignty and do that. And do it in a more, let's say, broad spectrum, majestic kind of way. You don't have to go blasting and charging through. You can go in a very, let's say, magnanimous way with a lot of self-respect and a lot of respect from others. What happens if you get overwhelmed by all of this stuff, or you go into deep denial that this doesn't exist inside of me? I'm Aries. I don't have these things. I don't have these kind of problems. Urgh. What happens? Then you're fighting yourself, okay? You lose. You lose, lose, lose. You all lose all the love. You lose all the happiness. But when you admit that you're human and you need the same thing as every other human, you need love. You need to love. You need to be loved. It's the most important thing. And to love thyself first and foremost. This is how you do it. And when you do it properly and you admit your humanity, respecting yourself, uh, people respect that even more and more. It's like you gain more and more respect by doing this instead of having to be just permanently in the battlefronts, having to prove, success in the wars of life. No, this is bigger. This is ascending to higher ways of being. And in so doing, you generate happiness. You create happiness at the core, the most desirable kind of happiness, that what's what most people want. A, their sweetheart, their loved ones, the offspring of their creativity, their love, their fun, the happy home, the happy family, the happy hearth, being together, being loving, and being loved. That's perfectly okay for you to do this, Aries. Aries, you've got such big, bold energy, and like the best thing you could do with it is like transcribe it, translate it into something that looks like this. It's beautiful, Aries, and you can do it. This is a formula, all right? It's like a regimen. It's a practice that you can teach yourself. Over here, prospects. Yes. Okay. So to me, this looks like a match. This is like having to fight yourself a little bit, because I feel the strength card here is extremely relevant to the Jupiter in Sagittarius ingress coming up soon here, where you're going to discover that the whole Aries egoic version of yourself is now being pressured, pressured to evolve and ascend to a higher level, where whoever it is or whatever you've got that are your gifts and talents in this world, they are going to be forced into a higher level of understanding, with higher level of mission and higher level of purpose, particularly in the realm of spirituality. It's almost like you're being forced to become more spiritual, okay, up here at the highest points of your chart and your life in your world. And then what are you going to do with that in another year from now when Jupiter moves into Capricorn 2020? That is going to be an epic global restructuring. Okay, so start preparing now. All right, dear Aries, thank you so much for listening. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to say anything more. You got lucky. Your reading was a bit shorter than others. So anyway, thank you so much. Please become a member. It's the most honorable, loving thing you could do for Tarot Illumination. Check the links below and follow up and learn, or get in touch, okay? Go to tarotillumination.com, whatever it is. And, join the family. Join the family, okay? We'd love to have you on board. Thank you so much, Aries. Bye-bye. Love you.